Hey guys, Valheim's been around for a while now, but it's 2025 and a lot has changed since it first came out. Whether you're a new player or just getting back into it, let's look into a beginner's guide to being able to survive your first few days in Valheim. Say you first spawned into Valheim here, this is where you'll start. This is your little starting area, and in your starting area there will be pretty much the basic resources to open up your first few recipes. You'll also have around the back sides of these things some random food, so it'll be like raspberries here, raspberry bushes, and some mushrooms. This is going to get you started on your journey so that once you gather enough things and you open up enough recipes, you'll be able to start crafting your tools and weapons. The other thing you'll find here is this Vesagear, which marks the location of your first boss, which is what is going to be needed to start progressing through the biomes. Once you've gathered enough items, you can start crafting your first tools and weapons. First one being a club, next one being a stone axe. I usually use the stone axe for wood chopping, which is what is increasing my skills here with axes and wood cutting, but I also like using the club as my main weapon. One of the other things you can do is by felling trees into each other, you'll be able to create less work for yourself by making the trees chop all the wood down that you need. Food items that you're going to find in Valheim are going to be these mushrooms and also these red raspberry bushes. These will be your base items. The other thing that you're going to want to find and quickly are deer and boar. And now you can sneak up on deer and kill them in one hit if you're successful. Cooked deer meat and cooked boar meat will be very vital to your survival with stamina and hunger. As you eat and gain food, one of the things you'll be able to notice is that each food has a stamina or health bonus or both. As you can see by the yellow fork here, it's a stamina bonus, and the white fork meaning it's a neutral food and it does both. These things right here, these stone structures, will be a way for you to gather bones quicker than going into the Black Forest, which is when you first can gather bones. Bones is one of the things you will need to upgrade some of your weapons and tools. Also, these structures that you find throughout Valheim, these abandoned ones, this one right here is pretty much already put together, and so we can use this as a beginning base without having to spend more resources on our own. So we can set up a workbench, repair our tools and weapons, and it's already got a roof over it, so it works. We can also craft a hoe, which will help us level ground later on. We can also craft a campfire. With the campfire, though, you have to make sure that you have ventilation or it will smother itself. We can also repair a lot of these structures here just by pressing the main attack button when you're holding the hammer. And then we can make sure that this structure is structurally sound. With my fire, I also like to build a kind of a chimney so that the smoke is directed out of the house and it doesn't choke you out while you're in your home. There we go, and now we've got a fire that has a chimney and the smoke is being vented out of the house. We can also use this place to put a bed down for ourselves, for a spawn point, and a storage chest. So we've got a little base set up within the first day. We can also set up a cooking rack for cooking the deer and boar meat that you'll be able to find throughout the meadows here, and add some wood to the fire. And then we wait, and after a little bit of time, you'll see a difference in color change, and it'll make a sound that lets you know it's been cooked, like this. Also, if you'd like to speed up the cooking process, you can sleep through the night. The problem is with cooking things through the night, instead of just cooking them, it burns them into coal, which is not a terrible way to get coal early game. Now outside here with the hoe, that helps us level the ground and makes us, get a little bit of a flatter area for building, for where you want to put your starter home. You can just flatten the earth as you go. It does take stamina, but it helps to, make sure you've got a place for building and it's not all bumpy. Every enemy in Valheim has weaknesses and resistances to damage. When the damage comes up yellow, then like the numbers here, that means the enemy is weak to that type of damage. When the damage numbers come up white, like right here, that means that it's a neutral thing and that's just normal damage. Also, you can use your workbench to repair your tools as you need them. And the other thing you can do with these structures that you find in the world, instead of living in them, is breaking them down for free resources. Just put a workbench out front, and then you can just take all the supports out from underneath, and you can just sit here and slowly watch the building collapse, and you get all the resources that come out of it. Or if you don't want to wait that long, you can always get your hammer back out, and by using the middle mouse button on this while you're holding the hammer, you can help destroy the structure piece by piece, therefore picking up all the resources for free and not having to do hardly any work. Then when you're done, just destroy your workbench and you can move on. The other things you'll find in these structures in Valheim, as you can hear right here, are beehives. One of the things you'll need early on and throughout most of the rest of the game is honey for certain meads and things. So one of the easiest ways to get the bees, instead of attacking them and having them attack you, just destroy the structure they're sitting on or around, and eventually the bee will fall and you can just pick them up without any mess. One of the other items that you'll be looking for is flint. Flint can be found around the edges and coasts of water like rivers and oceans and lakes. And flint will open up quite a few other recipes, and that will help you make a better axe. Be careful while you're by the water, because when you're swimming, when you run out of stamina, you will start losing health, and if you can't get back to shore, you'll eventually die, and it won't take very long. So there you guys go. That is my beginner's guide to surviving your first few days in Valheim and setting yourself up for success. If you guys enjoyed that and would like to see more, hit subscribe and like the video for more.